This video is brought to you by Squarespace. If you're looking for a great place to create your website, go to squarespace.com/fastpassfacts to get 10% off your first Squarespace order. Let's be honest, Disney villains are extremely cool, and we're so lucky to have them come to the parks during Halloween time so we can meet them. And we just have to say that villain character interactions are super fun. Today, let's take a look at 10 walk-around Disney villains we can see during Halloween time. The Hag. The Hag is one of the scariest Disney characters ever. She's creepy in every form. She scared us in the movie, and she still completely terrifies us in the ride. It's safe to say that we wouldn't want to run into her. But still, we love rare characters, and sadly, she's one of them. Of course, we all know she appears on every Fantasmic show, but she hasn't appeared much at Disney parks as a walk-around character. So when she does, guests all over try to get a picture with her. The Hag is one of the few characters to appear as both a face character and an atmosphere character. In the US park, she appears as an atmosphere character, and at Disneyland Paris, she's a face character. She used to do regular meet and greets at Villain's Lair in Disneyland's Fantasyland. Villain's Lair was located where the Castle Holiday Shop is today, but this space served as a meet and greet for Disney villains for a while. When it closed, the Hag appeared walking through Fantasyland. She has also appeared during Halloween time at Walt Disney World, specifically at Mickey's Not-So-Scary Halloween Party. But that's not always the case, and nowadays it's very rare to see her. At Disneyland Paris, her appearances are more frequent. She appears during Halloween time also at the town square, and because she's a face character, her appearances are more fun.
You want an apple? Yeah, some sweets.
Thank you.
Headless Horseman. There's no one who doesn't love The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, especially during Halloween time. It is the perfect movie to watch to get into the Halloween spirit, and the Headless Horseman is equally a scary and classic villain, and thankfully, Disney brought him to life at the parks. He first came to Mickey's Not-So-Scary Halloween Party, leading the Boo to You parade. The Headless Horseman rides down the parade route ahead of the rest of the show. At Hong Kong Disneyland, the Headless Horseman was the host of the 2011 Halloween festivities. He leads the Halloween parade and starred in a new haunted maze in Adventureland, Revenge of the Headless Horseman, where a member of an adventurers club claimed to have found his head and is presenting it in a sideshow exhibit, provoking the Horseman's wrath. This attraction proved popular enough to become a recurring feature of the event. He then made his debut as part of Mickey's Halloween Party at Disneyland in 2016, leading the frightfully fun parade. A statue of the Horseman has also become a central feature of Disney California Adventure's Halloween festivities on Buena Vista Street. He also was part of a special event at Walt Disney World. Return to Sleepy Hollow was a special event that included a group viewing of the 1949 film, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, inside the Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground historic Tri-Circle D Ranch stables. After that, guests could experience an up-close and personal encounter with none other than the Headless Horseman himself. Sadly, because of the current construction of the new DVC hotel, the event wasn't held this year, but thankfully, it is expected to return next year. Frollo. Frollo is creepy in every way possible, so of course, as a walk-around character, he had to be creepy too. Back when The Hunchback of Notre Dame came out, Frollo could be seen all around Disney parks with the rest of the film's characters. But as time went by, these characters became less popular and started becoming rarer. Frollo was the exception, and he is allowed to come out during Halloween time. He is often seen at Disney Parks' Halloween parties. He has appeared in Central Plaza at Tokyo Disneyland and Fantasy Gardens at Hong Kong Disneyland. He also often appears at special events like the DVC Moonlight event, and used to appear at Disney's Mix and Mingle show, showing off his moves along with many other Disney villains. And Mickey's Not-So-Scary Halloween Party. This year, Frollo is out again, meeting guests at Oogie Boogie Bash in California Adventure. Yokai. Perhaps Yokai is one of the most complicated Disney villains. On one side, he is a man motivated by revenge because of the loss of his daughter, and is one of the few villains who have shown remorse for his actions. But on the other hand, he is one of the only 4 villains to kill off a major character in his own film. Yokai has only appeared at Disneyland Paris. On December 31st, 2015, he appeared for the first time during a private event. Then he appeared again in 2017 with Hero during the announcement of the park's Fan Days event. And later that year, he was one of the many Disney villains to appear during the Halloween Soirée event in the Disney Villains Halloween Celebration Parade. Then in 2018, he was one of the walkaround characters that appeared at the Disneyland Paris' day-long Fan Days event in the Heroes and Villains Alley along with Hero. On October 31st, Yokai had his own stage show called Yokai's Revenge. This show is in the style of kabuki theater and just played for one day. In this show, Yokai used laser projections as blades and practiced using them with 2 other henchmen. He is then confronted by the Big Hero 6 gang, and he succeeds in encasing Wasabi, Go-Go, Fred, and Honey Lemon in laser fields. Then Hero arrives to the rescue, and when the pair are preparing to fight, Baymax arrives and Yokai flees the scene. This show was super cool, and the way they used the laser projections was spectacular. Hopefully, it will return this year. Hades. The fast-talking god of the underworld didn't used to appear a lot at Disney parks. One of his first appearances was during the Hercules Victory Parade at Disneyland in 1997.
Now at Disneyland Park, you can see how Hurt picks up where the movie left off in the Hercules Victory Parade. You can see the biggest hero of them all, plus a monster cast, a hotshot villain, and the beautiful Meg. Live on Main Street, USA. It's too strong to resist, and it's only at Disneyland.
And then in the Hero to Zero parade at Walt Disney World. At Disneyland, he appeared in the Hades House of Horrors float along with Pain and Panic. Disney World's float was the same, just a bit less sophisticated. As time went by, Hades started appearing less and less, until in 2000 he returned for the Villain's Night Out. In 2001, he also appeared as the main villain in the Villain's Car at the MGM Motorcar Parade, until in 2008, when the Motorcar Parade was replaced by the Block Party Bash. This parade was taken to Disneyland Paris, but sadly Hades didn't make the cut. During this time, he also made some appearances at California Adventure. After this, he started appearing exclusively at Halloween time. In 2013, he was the host of Unleash the Villains, where he presented 50 villains. The weird part about this character was that he appeared as a face character instead of his usual atmosphere character costume. He has also appeared at the long-lost Disney Friends event at Disneyland in 2013, and came back for the Villains Unleashed event in 2014, and the Rock You Disney Side event also. Then in 2015, he joined the Sanderson Sisters at the Hocus Pocus Spectacular and the Harbor Show The Villains World in Tokyo Disney Sea. He also stars in his own show aboard the Disney Dream and Disney Magic cruise ships, Villains Tonight, where he has gone soft in recent years, and if he doesn't regain his evil nature, he will lose control over the underworld. Hades visits the most powerful Disney villains to help recapture his infamous cruelty. In Hong Kong, Hades was added to the 2017 edition of the Nightmare Experiment attraction, where guests could visit his underworld during the latter half of the tour. He was part of this year's Magic Kingdom event, Villains Unite, where he appears along with many other villains. We're delighted that he continues appearing at Disney parks and hope that he will continue to do so. Maleficent. Maleficent is everyone's favorite villain. She is ruthless, dark, and devious, and will do whatever it takes to achieve her evil goals.
Fools! Idiots! Imbeciles!
But she is also soft-spoken, proper, and elegant.
Royalty, nobility, the gentry, and... how quaint, even the rabble.
She is the leader of all Disney villains and usually appears as an antagonist in many shows, parades, video games, and movies. And because of this, she makes regular appearances at Disney parks. Maleficent's appearances at the parks are too many to count, but each and every one of them is amazing. From seeing her turn into a dragon in Fantasmic to helping the Sanderson sisters conjure up more villains, Maleficent always wows us. She also appeared in the Disney Villains Mix and Mingle show, and until 2011, she was a lead villain and celebrated Halloween with her fellow villains. Dr. Facilier took over in 2011 as the main villain. We're almost always used to seeing her in shows and parades, so it's amazing to get to meet her and take a picture. Only, of course, if the Empress of Evil allows it. She mostly appears in Fantasyland, but nowadays she is attending Oogie Boogie Bash, and even has her own special treat trail where she sits in her throne surrounded by spinning wheels and interacting with guests. Sanderson Sisters. You can't have Halloween without the Sanderson Sisters.
Sisters, sing.
Ever since the movie came out back in 1993, it has been a Disney Halloween classic, even if it wasn't the biggest success at first. This film has had record-breaking annual showings on Freeform's 13 Nights of Halloween, amazing DVD and Blu-ray sales, and has also inspired some Hocus Pocus-themed celebrations in the town of Salem. And with every passing year, the film's fan base grows bigger and bigger. So of course, Disney knew that the Sanderson Sisters had to make an appearance during Halloween at Disney parks. So back in 2015, Disney created the Hocus Pocus Villain Spelltacular for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. In this show, the sisters come together to create a special potion to throw a spectacular Halloween party. But to be able to do it, they need several ingredients that can only be conjured up by various Disney villains. So the sisters, with the help of Maleficent, summon these villains. The show is seriously spectacular, and one of the highlights of Disney World's Halloween party, and it's all thanks to the Sanderson Sisters. Sadly, they don't make meet and greet appearances, but we thankfully get to see them in this fantastic show, and we hope that someday they decide to meet guests. Maleficent's incompetent troll henchmen. Disney villains have a history of having some incompetent henchmen, but the ones that take the price are Maleficent's trolls. Not only did they not find Aurora after searching for her extensively, but they also searched for a baby after 16 years. Talk about incompetent.
We searched mountains, forests, and houses, and let me see, and all the cradles.
Cradle.
Yep. Every cradle.
Cradle!
These goons haven't only been searching for a baby these past 60 years. They've also been appearing at Disney parks and shows and for a few meet and greets. They haven't appeared many times, but these disgraces to the forces of evil have been seen at Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Sea's Halloween celebration. They also currently appear during the villain segment of One Man's Dream 2, The Magic Lives On, a live stage show located at Tomorrowland of Tokyo Disneyland that opened back in 2004 and is closing in December 2019. Lady Tremaine, Anastasia and Drizella. Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters followed her closely and are seen regularly searching for suitors near Cinderella Castle. They're not that rare at Disney World, but they are so fun to meet. The sisters love compliments and attention, and as we said before, are always looking for a handsome young prince to marry, while their mother is disapprovingly looking over them.
And this is
I'll be
Mother.
showing this to all the handsome young princes of your kingdom.
We want to round up some.
eligible. And I'm more eligible. It's not something to be proud of.
And you only send us the best.
Yeah.
You can meet all three of them at the castle courtyard area at Walt Disney World. They are a bit rarer at Disneyland, where they usually just come out during Halloween time. They also make regular appearances at Disneyland Paris, in Fantasyland, and at the Halloween Soiree. You can see them at parades like the Main Street Electrical Parade, the Frightfully Fun Parade, and surprisingly, the Christmas Fantasy Parade. Everybody loves meeting villains, and these three have very fun and interesting interactions that you can't miss. They also appear at the Twice Charmed live stage show at Disney Cruise Lines, where Lady Tremaine obtains her own fairy godmother and uses the power to exact revenge on Cinderella. Gaston. For a long time, Gaston had no representation at the parks. He was not a rare character, he was a non-existent character. But as years went by, Gaston started appearing in some live shows and seen in some parades. In 2009, Gaston appeared for the first time at Walt Disney Studios Park in Disneyland Paris at the Disney Stars and Cars Parade, and with this parade, Gaston arrived as a walk-around character. He took pictures with guests and had fun interactions. During this time, he had a different costume than the one he has now. Disney realized the potential that this character had and decided to bring him regularly to the parks. Starting in 2012, guests could meet Gaston at his tavern in New Fantasyland at Magic Kingdom. He also started appearing in many shows at Tokyo and Disneyland Paris. Then, in 2016, he made his first appearance at Fantasyland and Disneyland, and thankfully, he has stayed at the parks meeting guests and showing off his muscles. We would like to thank Squarespace again for sponsoring this video. If you haven't used Squarespace yet, we suggest you go ahead and check it out. They have an amazing, easy-to-use platform where you can create the perfect website for your specific needs, using any of the great templates they offer. We're using it to open a blog and tell a little bit more about our Disney trips, using the platform's blogging tools to share stories, photos, videos, and updates. Squarespace also supports a sharing button for platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, Google+, LinkedIn, StumbleUpon, Reddit, Pinterest, and Tumblr. So if your visitors like your content, they can easily share it. It's super easy to use. Be sure to use our code to get 10% off your first Squarespace order. Just head to Squarespace, start your free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/fastpassfacts and save 10% off your first purchase.